You ever sit around your house and think, it is time for a facelift? And I'm not talking about your wife, and I'm not talking about your husband. I'm talking about your cabinets. I'm talking about your furniture. I'm talking about the picture frame hanging on the wall. I'm talking about your entertainment center. Anything that is wood, I'm going to show you how to give it a little facelift. 3 techniques I'm going to demonstrate for you. The crackle finish. I'm going to demonstrate how to distress something. And I'm going to demonstrate how to glaze something. Alright, but first let's start with some safety issues. You want to make sure you have some of these safety glasses. I don't care how goofy you look, they're necessary. Because without your eyes, these finishes, don't matter how beautiful they are. Next thing is gloves. Solvents we're going to be using today are harmful to your skin. Can be harmful to your skin. And you want to make sure that when you choose some gloves, you talk to your paint consultant, and you get some that won't melt with these solvents that we're going to be using today. For more information on solvents and safety issues, you can go to osha.gov/sltc/solvents, and they give you a long list of regulations and guidelines for using these solvents. Okay, first thing we're going to do, I'm going to demonstrate for you is how to put the crackle finish on. I've got an ordinary picture frame here. Bought it at Walmart. Nothing spectacular. It's already got a stain finish on it. So it's ready to put a picture in right now and set it up on the nightstand. Looks fine, but I want to add a little something to it. So I've got some crackle paint here. I'm going to stir it up real good. I'm going to apply it generously. Also, you want to make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. Some of this stuff doesn't smell real good. And it's harmful to your lungs as well. We're in a big enough building right now, we don't need the respirator, and it would be very difficult for me to explain to you how to do this while I'm wearing a respirator anyway. So, just going to put it on generously. Not so much worried about the brush strokes because that gives it a little more of the antique look. I'm going to set this off to the side, let it dry for a while. We'll come back to it. Now let's move on to distressing. Over here I've got an ordinary cabinet door. It's just painted off-white color. Now I'm going to distress it, give it some character. I can do it 2 ways. There's a light distress and a heavy distress. The lightly distressed, you just take a sanding block of any kind, kind of rub the paint off around the edges. Give it the worn look. I'll make it look like it's been used a lot. If that's not enough for you, you take a hammer and a chisel. Give it some character flaws. Just put a few marks in it all around the door. You don't want a lot, but a few here and there. You don't want to be consistent with all of your cabinets either, or the whole piece of furniture. You want to sporadically put these marks in there. We've got a punch here. You can use an awl, you can use a nail. Put in a series of wormholes. There again, you don't really want a pattern, you just want something to show. Make it look a little bit distressed. This is not my method of choice. You know what? It is very stress relieving. Oh, it feels so good. Just imagine that's whatever you want it to be. If you had a bad day, you come in, having to work on a home project, make the most of it. Yeah. Like it. That brings us on over to glazing now. So I'm going to move this over here. So I've got it distressed the way I want it. I'm going to wipe it off, make sure I get all the dust and grease off. This is the glaze. This is an oil-based glaze. And here again, I want to make sure I'm in a well-ventilated area. I'm going to stir it up real well so that it's really consistent. I want to make sure that my mineral spirits solvent is close by in case I need to clean up something. I want to make sure I've got some extra rags on hand. These are not the good towels out of the dishcloth drawer. These aren't the good bath towels. These are old rags. I'm going to brush this on generously on this cabinet door. Probably won't do the whole thing for the sake of time. Want you to get a good idea of what it'll look like. There's also two types of glazing. I'm going to fill in real well where I beat it with the chains. Certainly, I don't really care for the whole chain look, but each to his own. Okay, I'm going to take a rag now. I've got it covered. Let's see. Covered it completely, or almost completely. Enough. Now I'm just going to wipe it off. And you can see how the glaze kind of stays in the grooves. Stays on top of the door. It may take several rags in order to get consistent glaze job on here. And you don't want it real consistent. You want it to look like it's been wiped, something like it's been handled and dirty. There's a fine line between having something just nasty and having art. We're creating art here. Okay, so you can see, just on the flat, going to look at the edges. You can see how the glaze caught up in the marks where the chain hit it, all up in the grooves. Now to finish this, we can put a clear polyurethane over it, or we can just leave it like it is, whichever you prefer. You can also put a glaze finish on a stained wood door. I'm going to also demonstrate very quickly how you can just put this just around the edges. Just brush it in like that. And wipe it out evenly, consistently. And when you're all done, end up with this. See how it's caught the glaze in the grooves. You can also do the neat glaze on a painted door as well. You can see where the highlights are just around the edges and the grooves, not over the entire door. And this little door is apparently, or obviously, not distressed anyway. And you can do the same thing also with the crackle finish. This is not completely dry yet, so we'll have to wait a little while for it to dry. But it may require extra coats. We'll see. So that is the techniques that I use for a crackle finish, the distress finish, and the glaze finish. And I hope you've enjoyed. Happy finishing.